Hi everyone, I'm Tracy, your Savvy Godmother. Today we're going to create 3 projects that are going to be super inexpensive and very easy to do. The first project is going to be a dupe for a Pottery Barn vase. The next item we're going to do is going to be a dupe for the Urban Outfitters candles. And then our last item, we're going to make a wreath using Dollar Tree lemons. Alright everyone, let's get started. Now we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to use a dry brush and I'm going to go in the same direction with my chalk paint, just up and down.
We fell right into each other, couldn't pull myself away, and I know love is blind.
Once you've gotten the entire bottle, make sure you get the top. I went inside of the neck a little bit as well, and you just want to make sure that you cover as much as you can. You're going to go ahead and do 3 coats of this paint, so don't worry if you didn't get full coverage the first time. Once my first coat was dry, I went ahead and went back in with the brush and I went in a X pattern all over to go ahead and give a little texture. Let the paint completely dry, and now let's get the dirt. Alright, you want your dirt to be a little bit moist, and you're just going to go ahead and rub it all over. In case you're wondering what that brown paper is underneath, I buy this from the Dollar Tree. It's in the gift wrap area, and this is great for your crafting projects. Once you've gone over most of the vase, there's going to be some areas that you might want to make it a little bit darker. So you can just go ahead and take the dirt and just work it into those other spots.
But I've always got this feeling in the back of my mind that you'll find someone else and then you'll leave me behind. You're going out and out.
If you need to, you can dip your fingers in a little bit of water just so you can get a little extra mud almost like onto the jar and just work that in. Once you're done with it and you've got the jar looking exactly the way you want, and you've gotten those little dark areas and you think that it's done, go ahead and just let it sit. I go ahead and brush it off and then I seal it with a matte clear finish, and look at that end result. It's just beautiful.
Don't know where I got 'em. I guess that's why they call 'em.
Time to go ahead and pour our Mod Podge into a jar. Once you get the desired amount that you need, you'll take your basic food coloring, choose the colors that you want, and you're going to add a few drops and just mix it up. I use a plastic spoon to mix it until I get the color that I want. Now you kind of have to play around with it because when you add the color in at first, it's going to be really bright. So sometimes you just have to add a few more colors just to darken it up until you get the desired effect that you want.
Trust issues, 'cause I've never had them before I met you. So scared you break my heart. I've never been a girl who gets paranoid. Got feelings that I can't avoid. Don't know where I got them. I guess that's why they call it trust issues. Oh, yeah.
Once you've gotten the color that you want to use, you're going to go ahead and take your item, and I raise it up onto some other jar so that if there's any drips, it's not going to stick to the paper. If you don't have it elevated, because it's Mod Podge, you're going to have your item stick directly to the paper. So this way, it's just going to drip down. Now you'll take your foam brush, make sure that it's dry, and you're really going to work it in and cover the entire glass as best as you can and get inside those little nooks and crannies. I do put 2 coats on each one of these, so you're going to want to let your first coat completely dry so that when you do your second coat, you'll also get the areas that maybe you didn't cover the first time. Now I know you're thinking, this looks really, really light. Well, don't worry, because when it dries, it's going to be much darker. You'll see at the very end. But I really want to make sure that I get in between each one of these little diamonds on here, and you are going to have some variance where some areas are going to look a little bit thicker and it's going to look just fine. Trust me, at the end it will look beautiful. Now when you're working with the lid, as you can see I'm holding the very top. You want to go ahead and just use your fingers to spin it around and do the top at the very last. Alright, now I'm going to work on the next color. I'm going to mix a bunch of colors together until I get the desired color that I want for this next jar. Alright, I switched it up and used the spoon again. I've had to keep mixing different colors in there because I wanted it to be a little deeper, but you're just going to continue mixing it until you get that desired color. Alright, now that you have the color that you want, we're going to go ahead and start on the next jar. We're going to do the same thing with a new foam brush because you don't want to reuse the old one. Just dip it inside and go ahead and start working all the way around. Also, you want to make sure that you're not doing the bottom of these jars. You don't need to put anything on the bottom of it. You're just doing around the sides and doing the lid only. Mod Podge is very sticky, so you want to make sure that you keep it up elevated so that if it drips down, which sometimes it does, it's going to drip down on that little jar that I have. Alright, we're going to go ahead and do the lid now, and then once I'm done with the lid, I did go back off camera and add a second coat, but after we let this dry, then our next step is going to be to melt the candles. Alright, I have my big basin with water in there. I'm going to go ahead and set my Dollar Tree candles in and melt those down. Alright, what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and pour the wax inside of each container. And I went ahead and used the wick that was in the Dollar Tree candles and tied them here around the chopstick just to hold it in place. And then you can cut it afterwards. Go ahead and pour. Next step is going to be to create the tassel for our candles. We're going to take a piece of cardboard, we're going to cut 2 little slits and take a little bit of embroidery floss, make a loop, secure it to the back of the cardboard. As you can see, it's attached. You've got the strings just like that. Now you're going to take a little bit of embroidery floss. I tape mine to the bottom just to keep it secure. You don't have to. And then you're going to just go ahead and wrap it around the cardboard. You're going to go around and around and around several times until you get a little bit of thickness on there. I keep scooting it over and just keep wrapping. Once you've gotten to the end, you're going to go ahead and cut the string off. You're going to go ahead and tie a knot at the top to secure it all, cut it off the cardboard, and then I take an extra piece of string and wrap it around the top and wrap it around several times and then tie a knot. And then when you're done with that, you'll go ahead and take the loop portion and attach it to the top of your jar and let it just sit at the top. And there you have the finished product. Now let's begin our lemon wreath. Okay, first we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to lay some leaves down. You can stack them however looks best to you, and then just kind of play around with it to see how you want to position everything. Then we're going to add a little bit of glue when we want to go ahead and attach it to our wreath. Keep adding flowers, leaves, lemons until you get the desired look that you want. You really can't go wrong with doing this. It's going to look great no matter what you do. I always make sure that when I'm adding my glue, just in case with a grapevine wreath, sometimes things like this, the glue might drip through. So I always want to make sure that it's attached really, really well. You want to create lots of layers when you're adding in leaves and flowers to kind of make it a little bit more full so it's not a flat wreath. Exactly the way you want it to look, let's go ahead and start creating a bow. Now I just wrap ribbon, which my ribbon has wire in it, and I wrap it back and forth. I'm not super great at doing it, but it's okay because you can just fluff it up and do the best that you can with it. little extra ribbon, go ahead and tie a knot on the back to secure the bow. I start fluffing it up. I add a little hot glue, position it onto the wreath, fluff up the wires, and there you go. You've got a beautiful bow. Alright everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know down in the comments below which project was your favorite. Was it the vase, was it the candle jars, or was it the lemon wreath? Thank you again. I'm Tracy, your Savvy Godmother.